I'd like to take a moment to thank the Blockchain Academy. The Blockchain Academy is an educational training firm offering blockchain training to the enterprise. The Blockchain Academy offers courses for both management and developers, offering delivery online and in live classrooms. The Blockchain Academy works with enterprise clients to create and deliver innovative training programs globally. They recently announced a new blockchain course targeted towards attorneys. To learn more about the Blockchain Academy, visit them at www.theblockchainacademy.com.
This is the Blockchain 360 podcast. Blockchain 360 is a podcast of interviews and discussions about the current state and direction of blockchain. Thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time listening, then thank you for coming. The Blockchain 360 podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at our website, blockchain360.co. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at Blockchain360. All links discussed today are included in the show notes.
My name is Brian Nilsson, and I'm your host here on Blockchain 360, where we talk about everything blockchain. My guest today is Simon Yu, who is the CEO and co-founder of StormX, the parent company of BitMaker, a Seattle-based technology company driving users to engage with advertisers by rewarding users with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies. StormX's vision is to use the power of blockchain to expand its platform to create Storm Market, the first decentralized microjob marketplace economy where users can earn from any place, anytime, from any device. Storm Market's mission is to enable people to pursue their life's ambition of being a creator or developer. Storm Market incorporates and automates all aspects of microjob management, from project management to marketing. Simon, you have a very interesting background. Can you share with me and our listeners a little bit about your background and what inspired you to create StormX and the Storm Market platform?
Yes, absolutely. I guess my entrepreneurial spirit really began when I was 19. My parents were struggling financially, so I ended up having to drop out of college. And I found a full-time job, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills. So I knew I needed a second job or I needed to start a business. And I chose the second half to try to make some side money. And from this, I actually started my first business using my mom's Korean barbecue recipe and started selling Korean tacos to students around the Seattle campus. And
Wait, so what is a Korean taco?
yeah, so Korean taco is it's Korean barbecue. It's one of the most delicious marinated meats that you could ever try. You put that in either flour, corn tortilla, put some lettuce, put some vegetables in it, and it's one of the best things that you could ever have. It's just simply delicious.
All right. So anyway, so you were selling Korean tacos to college students from your dorm room.
Yes.
How does that guide you down this path to actually creating a blockchain company?
Yeah, so the journey itself was pretty long, but I could, summarize this. So really the lesson I got from that was, during my financial hardship, I was always looking for some side gigs. I was always looking for some secondary source of income. And back then, there was no Uber, there was no Lyft, there was no like Airbnb that you could do in order to get some side cash. Because it's back in 2011. And I was fortunate enough that I managed to make this taco business go viral. So I turned $100. I begged my dad to borrow, and I was able to turn that into 10,000. And then I eventually taught myself how to trade options and turned that into 30,000, and started a food truck focusing on catering to tech companies, and turned that into $1 million in revenue. But the going back to my college days, not everyone has the lucky chance to just start their own business, and there was plenty of times that it could have failed miserably. So it was very difficult. But if I had options to be able to earn some side income through some jobs that I could just find online anywhere, which I was trying to, then it would have made my life a lot easier, and I could have probably gone back to school a lot sooner and just support my lifestyle a little bit better.
Now, you did this as a side job to your primary job, which was a bank underwriter?
So actually, at that time, I was just a teller, and I was an underwriter
Okay.
after I graduated. So I did end up going back to school. I applied for 200 scholarships, and I got a full ride back. So I've always been kind of persistent, but I always just try to find how I can survive. But this is the reason why. Well, so I worked for three different banks with different roles, and I got really excited about Bitcoin and blockchain as I saw the volume of transactions that it was being paid through just interbank transfers, ACH, wire transfers, foreign transaction fees, and I saw how much banks were making profits off of all of these fiat currency transfers. And so while I was in banking, I really got excited about Bitcoin. I also did do a research paper in college about it, and when the opportunity had um, to join a Bitcoin startup, I joined immediately while doing this food truck business on the side. And for the last 3 years, we've just been managing to grow BitMaker and expanding this opportunity into Storm and creating the microtask platform.
So you saw firsthand all the fees that the banks were making. So that's what drew you to at least Bitcoin and then the other cryptocurrencies. And from there, you decided to actually investigate this further and came up with this idea for micro jobs. So tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, what is this Storm Market platform and how does it work?
Yeah, and so the story behind this is for the last 3 years, BitMaker has been primarily focused on ad tech, and it's a very simple concept. So if you're willing to try out products or services for the first time, let's say you're willing to try out Uber, we'll pay you $25 for trying Uber. Uber, on the other hand, they don't have to pay, Facebook or Google or any of the ad tech companies for someone just merely clicking on an ad or someone just viewing on an ad. They can actually pay for user acquisition only upon engagement, which is much more valuable. So we actually saw the opportunity where the current advertising technology was very primitive. These clicks, installs, or view-based was not very efficient. So we created an easy
Right.
concept using blockchain and rewarding users directly for their time and effort for participating. So we actually, so we have some really cool products on our platform right now, including like Uber, Hulu, DraftKings, Final Fantasy, and hundreds of more. And what we realized from doing this over the last 3 years was that people came to us and our app because they like the ability to earn free money. It's a hard pass, when we're trying to offer
Well,
you
it's
free
not
money.
free. They actually have to do something for it. But yeah,
Right, right. So I
that's
mean,
okay.
yeah. So the a lot of the blockchain companies are focusing on how to get people to spend, as opposed to us is like, hey, you don't have to spend anything in order to get the acquisition. It does take time and effort. You're right. Um, so this opportunity came where we realized the users wanted more. But for advertising, there is a limit on how much you can earn, just because there's only a certain amount of products you can check out before there's nothing you can do. So, like, imagine going to Costco. There's about four samples that you can try. After trying out all the samples, there's nothing more. So, we wanted to expand on the earning opportunities for our users and the freelance economy, and it's a rapidly growing marketplace. But the technology is being changed, so we're able to now hire from anywhere around the world. However, the fiat currency method hasn't really caught up with it. So we're still seeing 40% transaction fees because we're using PayPal or ACH or wire transfer fees, and it takes several days before your payment is actually reached. And our job is to make this as frictionless as possible and to really lower the costs and to allow people to work and hire without much of the transaction fees in between.
All right. So the Storm Market platform is leveraging the popularity of the gig economy. How, outside of the advertising aspect, which is very straightforward, how does it actually work? I mean, how does a user say myself, how is it that I want to go in and I want to do something? How do I participate?
Yes, so we will have an app for the gig economy coming out soon, and it'll be very user friendly. And that's one of the really key criterias that we try to focus on as a company. So if you actually read our white paper, there's a lot of emphasis on gamification. So our job is to make sure that we really gamify this experience. So when you're working, there's multiple different jobs that you can do. There's machine learning tasks, which are short and sweet. There's also a highly skilled task, so you can contribute your skills as developer or UX designer or whatever skill set that you might have, and you'll be able to level up based on the skill set that you're good at. So the more jobs that you do with higher quality ratings, you'll accrue experience points. And through those experience points, you'll level up. And through leveling up, you also show credibility in the marketplace, and you'll be able to charge a higher rate to the people that are looking to hire you because you have a better reputation. And we're really focusing on the user experience aspect because we understand that blockchain is this amazing piece of technology, but it's really difficult to explain to someone what a private key is or a public key and trying to get them to use this system. But at the same time, coming from a banking background, regular consumers did not necessarily understand how ACH worked. Why it takes 3 business days, why there were foreign transaction fees, or what everything happened in the background. All they cared was, I want to send my money for free. It's going to take 3 business days. Here's my limit, and boom. So we try to create this similar experience. We'll do all the technology work in the background with utilizing blockchain, and we're going to make this as easy as possible for users to be able to hire or work through our app.
All right. So, what makes this Storm Market different than other similar applications like Upwork or Fiverr or Guru?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one, the immediate benefits are the transaction fees. So some of these services charge 40% to even 60% if you factor in uh, both sides of the commission that they're taking on top of the PayPal fees. So there's an immediate benefit of 1% transaction fee versus double-digit transaction fees that you'd have to pay. Just because we've been really efficient with facilitating microtransactions over the last 3 years. There's also the gamification portion, as right now with Upwork and Fiverr, there's ratings and systems where you can validate your credibility on your skill. However, um, our mission here is to make sure that even though you're working, it doesn't feel like you're working. It feels like you're playing Final Fantasy or RuneScape or World of Warcraft or some kind of role-playing game where your your level is experience your level is increasing based on the work that you put in. So
All right. So, let me understand this.
yeah.
So, if I was, say, a Photoshop editor,
hmm
and I wanted to be part of StormX, and I want to have people send me their images for me to Photoshop. Um, how is that gamified, and then how does that allow for me to level up to create these reputation points?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have 3 excellent advisors on our team who are very strong with gamification. So one of them being Tom Bollock, who's one of the founding members and studio CTO of Zynga. We have Damon Daniele, who was one of the founding members of Xbox Live, and we also have Dr. Hernan, who's doing strategy for League of Legends. And a lot of the gamification aspect actually comes down to mathematics, and it's very interesting how there's trigger points. So it's really when you make the flashing lights come on, when you facilitate the reward, how much experience points does it take to reach the next level, and there's all of these mechanics that are involved with gaming that ultimately come up to formulas and equations and making sure the experience and the journey is a fruitful one. So for us, it's
So, how does the mathematics work then for that product delivery?
mhm. So
You know,
it's more on an aggregated basis. So let's say Simon is good at blockchain consulting, so I will offer my services for the first time, and if I receive good feedback along with finishing this task, then I'll be receiving experience points. And the next job that I do, if I receive good quality results again, then I will level up to level 2. We'll receive some bonuses for leveling up, as well as now that my level is higher, I can have the power to charge a higher rate if I choose to. because there's more credibility.
Right.
But from the user perspective, as myself, instead of just doing 20 jobs as normal, as offering 20 different instances where I offer my services, now if I did 20, then my level could be 8, for example. And now that I have a physical level and experience point tied to it, it's really fun for me to actually participate and want to do more jobs. And instead of receiving fake gold or fake swords for traditional video games after you kill 200 monsters or you have to do the 6-hour quest, you're receiving something that's tangible and that's something that is worthwhile and has real value to it, so, which is the exciting part.
All right. So what are you receiving? Are you receiving some type of, I mean, you're receiving some type of compensation, of course,
Hmm.
but is there a particular token or cryptocurrency that is being utilized to actually facilitate this?
Yes, so it's Storm Tokens is the number one platform, and we have some excellent partners who actually help with the wallet portion as well. So we're partnered with Jax, and we will actually be one of the first companies ever to be able to directly participate in a crowd sale using a Jax wallet. And their focus on user experience is amazing. All you have to do is just set it up, deposit the funds or any tokens that they support into their wallet, and you can use Shapeshift to trade for Bitcoin, Ether, do whatever you want to with it. Um, we also are partnered with Bancor, and they also facilitate numerous tokens on their platform. And we're announcing several partnerships that will allow Storm tokens to be more usable and transferable to other types of services and products as well. But at the end of the day, it does have some sort of tangible value. So the utility portion is very exciting because you can spend, you can earn, you can buy, and you can choose whatever you choose to do with the Storm tokens.
Hmm. Well, so the Storm Market platform, as I understand it, has two parts to it: Storm Play and Storm Shop. So the Storm Shop is more like the traditional. I had to say that again. So the Storm Market platform has two parts to it: Storm Play and Storm Shop. And from what I understand, the Storm Play is the gamification part of it, and the Storm Shop would be more like the Upwork part of it. What's the integration of the two, and how do they actually work on behalf of the user who's actually doing this and participating and receiving compensation?
Yeah, so so actually we have three products. Yeah, it definitely seems like we're working on a lot, but we've already started doing most of these already. So Storm Play is the ad tech portion that we've already built. We're going to continue to enhance our features, add more products, and add the gamification layer on top of it. So currently, BitMaker will be rebranded to Storm Play in a few days when our crowd sale begins, and so
Great. Yes, I saw it starts up in 4 days.
perfect. So Storm Play is already set up. It will continue to improve. So Storm Gigs is the Mechanical Turk, like the machine learning or the Upwork or Fiverr services where you can facilitate jobs, and this will be the center focus around the Storm market. But we also do have a project called Storm Shop, which we haven't announced much details, but we've actually built the majority of it already. But it's a very exciting platform, and you'll be able to buy stuff using Storm tokens. And so not only will you have a place to earn, but we'll also have a place to spend Storm tokens through our platforms immediately if you choose to buy a computer or laptop or Xbox or whatever you choose.
Okay, so do all of these three platforms then work through like a phone app?
Yes.
Or is there a computer app? I mean, how is the engagement actually done?
So we're focusing on mobile. So I mean, in 5 to 10 years, this could change. But currently, the mobile experience is the standard um, method for people to engage with. And so we'll be focusing on mobile apps for all three platforms as there's billions of devices and continues to grow. And if the next platform ends up being VR or ends up being the next platform, we'll look to expanding onto that device as well.
I would like to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, the Blockchain Academy. The Blockchain Academy is an educational training firm offering blockchain training for developers and stakeholders. The Blockchain Academy is currently offering the following live courses: Blockchain Security, Hyperledger Developer Workshop, and Ethereum 0 to D app. Visit the Blockchain Academy's website for course outlines and course dates. The Blockchain Academy's courses can be delivered as a company-specific training, tailor-made to fit your organizational needs, delivered both on-site and online. The Blockchain Academy's training is cost-effective, flexible, and can be conducted in a manner that best suits your organizational needs. To learn more about the Blockchain Academy, visit them at www.theblockchainacademy.com. Now that you've explained the platform, how does blockchain come into play?
Blockchain is the beauty of it. I mean, as a traditional banking background and finance background, I always, try to bring up the fees first because, uh, you know, never in the past have we been able to send 2 cents worth of payments to users all over the world without a transaction fee. So there is gas costs involved, but our company has figured out how to minimize the gas transaction fees through a variety of different techniques. And as a result, we're able to um, not really pay any transaction fees to sending a 2 cent payment to someone in India or Africa or Brazil, for example. And it's an amazing piece of technology. There's also, I mean, just the decentralization portion in terms of technology. We're really excited about it. Because we now have contributors from all over the world that can participate in helping make sure that this technology is the best and standard up to date. We have strong community managers, members that are constantly participating and giving suggestions on how to improve the process, and also including the security aspect of it. Um, there is just unlimited potential for using the blockchain, but one of the most interesting aspects, I would say, is the fact that ultimately we want to come to a point where um, our company does not even have to be involved. I mean, we're still starting off with a very centralized process, adding blockchain layers in between. But if we could just help create this marketplace where ultimately we're just allowing people that are looking to hire and people that are looking to work without having to be involved because everything operates by itself, then that's the ultimate vision and dream of blockchain.
So, has StormX secured any recent partnerships, and with whom?
Yes, so going back, so we've announced a partnership with Jax. We've
That's the
announced a
wallet.
partnership with
Hmm.
Bancor. Yeah, so Jax is one of the most user-friendly wallets out there, so we have a direct partnership with them. Bancor Protocol is focused highly on user experience, which are um, focusing on Zencash, for example, their privacy-based coin, which has a very strong team, and they're building some amazing, cool technology. We're also about to announce a partnership with Kyber Network. They're a decentralized exchange that will allow tokens to be transferable and to use as long as you're any ERC20 token. It's actually a really cool project. Um, and we're announcing some really big partnerships probably end of next week with some traditional ad tech companies as well as some really large players in the regular tech company scene outside of blockchain. So stay tuned for that.
Okay. Now, you do this isn't just a pie in the sky thing. You actually have a number of users already using your product, correct?
Yes.
So, tell me about that growth. When did you first start getting users online, and how many users do you have now?
Yeah, so we have over 1.3 million downloads over 187 countries. Um, and we've paid out over 240 bitcoins today, and it's pretty exciting when Bitcoin's almost $7,000 now. So, and part of the fun was back when we first started in 2014. The focus around Bitcoin was about Mount Gox and Silk Road. So, the people were always associating with it as a money laundering tool or drug smuggling tool or some kind of negative annotation with it. And when we came up with the proposition, it's like, hey, we just want you to check out Bitcoin because we believe in the long-term technology of it. Just do a couple of small tasks and we'll give it to you for free. I mean, yeah, as long as you're willing to opt in your time and you don't have to risk your money. So we actually ended up giving a lot of people their first semi Bitcoin, like 0.2 Bitcoin or 0.005 Bitcoin. And so when we announced we're about to launch our public crowd sale, we had a lot of our users that were pretty excited because they're like, oh yeah, these guys gave me my first cryptocurrency and this is how I got involved in the space, and it was a great feeling. And even this year too, we launched Ethereum as a payment method in February of this year, and it was at $10 when we first launched, but in June it was about $430. So some of our users are messaging us and saying, "Oh wow, like because of the $10 Hulu offer that I got from you guys, I have $430 worth of Ether. This is amazing. Like thanks guys."
That's a nice
And
thing.
this yeah, it is a nice thing, and it's really awesome to have happy users, and we're continuing to spread the awareness of blockchain and cryptocurrency in general because we still haven't um, we still haven't achieved mass adoption yet, and I think we're going to be one of the platforms that's going to introduce um, the cryptocurrency market to just regular people
Well, the way
to
that
get
you're
them
doing it
excited.
with these micro jobs is very fascinating. Do you think that the your platform is actually going to be changing or impacting the job markets?
Oh, we believe so. We believe one, just we're going to start disrupting a lot of the traditional companies out there because we have so many advantages. And if you look at all of the complaints through any of these freelance marketplace services, number one is always about transaction fees, and number two is about how long the payment takes to arrive in their bank account. And we can immediately solve those right away, so which are huge benefits. And adding the gamification portion on top of it is going to add another layer of um, benefits for people to come and participate with our app.
So, who should be using your platform?
I like to say everyone. I mean, we're trying to make this. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to make this as accessible as possible, and the primary focus is definitely people that are looking to hire, people that are looking to earn money. But at the same time, we have a global workforce of 4.6 billion people, all looking to work and do jobs. And 40% of the workforce by 2020 will be working remote, either part time or full time, just because technology is evolving. I worked for some of the oldest archaic companies in terms of technology before, but even they're now upgrading to allow their employees to work from home using remote services. And so now the digital the digital age is evolving, and people are going to look for more of these online jobs, and we need the payment to really catch up. And
So
yeah.
that's great for the people who are actually being these freelancers and taking advantage of the gig economy. Who's buying these things? Is it corporations? Is it individuals? Who's actually on the initiation side of all of these transactions?
So, from the supply side, we work with primarily businesses because the businesses have more jobs than anyone else, including ad tech as well. So we try to source the deals at the current stage from businesses, and then from the users, they're the ones that are facilitating on the demand side, which is the jobs, working the jobs, for example. So
Right.
we're creating a B2C platform initially, and so this is kind of where experience really comes in play because it's much easier to scale a business working with enterprise clients in terms of one side and maybe consumers on the other side. Because if you have a C2C platform where users are creating the jobs and users are also working the jobs, it becomes a mess in terms of customer support and the amount of kind of hand holding that you need to do until people are familiar with your jobs. So we've learned this from just being having run a marketplace business in the blockchain space for over 3 years. So we're going to phase out the steps. So we're going to continue supplying jobs from businesses and have users be able to earn from some of these jobs.
That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about who your advisors are. I mean, you referenced them early on. You mentioned, of course, Tom Bullock. Any of the other advisors that have been instrumental
Yes,
in helping you?
no, there's so many people that are supporting us, so it's amazing. So I mean, we have Bill Shihara, who's the CEO of Bitrix, and he was actually our first angel investor. And he's always been so supportive. He's built an amazing business. Just Bitrix is the number one exchange, and there's a good reason. There are four founders. They were always involved in Slack, and they were so transparent with their users that if anyone needed help, they were so hands-on. And because they were able to get the trust of their community, um, they just their user base continued to grow, and they were able to sign up more partnerships, and they were able to just create this amazing piece of technology for everyone. And Bill has always been kind of our inspiration for blockchain and just running a business in general. They've always taught us how to do all the right things. And I mean, we have Anthony Diorio, who's also CEO of Jax, but he was one of the co-founders of Ethereum. We have um, Steven Narioff, who is involved in potentially he has his hands on like every blockchain project that you could ever think of, and his connections have helped us launch some of the biggest partnerships in blockchain, ad tech, and just everything in general. And what we're really excited about with a lot of these advisors are they're actually most of them are seed round equity holders or angel round equity holders, and so these guys are really in it for the long run. And all of our advisors are entrepreneurs of very successful million or billion-dollar companies, and they've experienced what we've experienced. There's a lot of hardship. There's a lot of pain. It takes a long time, but they're able to coach us, and they're able to provide us the great connections and to really be able to help us sustain in the long run. So, uh, yeah, our advisors are. Uh, I'm always grateful to all of our advisors because they've helped us come a long way.
That's their role, of course. So tell me about your team. Who's aside from you? I think you mentioned Steve as one of your strategists, your chief strategist. But tell me about your team and who's making it up. The core of your entire
Yeah, so
project.
we have Ari, who's our chief operating officer, and she's amazing. Her previous background, in 20 years, she's worked for Expedia, Microsoft, Google, KPMG, and when we asked her to join, she really helped us scale our business from a small startup to an actual business. And her and her husband were actually one of our first angel investors as well. But we were showing them our growth metrics, and she was very excited to join and really help us scale. So Aries been a fundamental reason for our success of growing our company. We have Rui Maximo, who's our CTO, and his background over the last 25 years has been cybersecurity. And so when you get something as large as a blockchain project where people are always trying to attack your system, he's like the best person that you could ever think of as a true CTO. So his experience over the last decade has been um, working on um, projects that Fortune 500 companies or like nuclear silos or projects that they can't even handle themselves, and they would call Rui and ask them, "Hey, can you fix this for us?" And patches and security. So, and previous to that, he worked in Microsoft for about a decade and in the security divisions, and he definitely has a vision in addition to being highly technical as well. We have Sean Zong, who's the VP of engineering. We also have Calvin, of course, who's the co-founder of BitMaker, and he's always supporting us with the vision. We have our VP of sales, John Knowles, who has 20 years in ad tech experience and has been the primary reason for us getting these large clients such as Hulu and DraftKings and all these guys on our platform. And continues to grow our business. And we have 16 of us working really hard, and we'll be expanding and making sure that we really build an impactful project.
Okay, so tell me about your crowd sell. How is that? I know that on your website, stormtoken.com, you have your white paper there. You have the ability to join the crowd sell in the preliminary, but it's starting in 4.5 days. So tell me how that's going to work for you.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So we're finally heading to the crowd sale date. Our team is pretty excited as this is going to help us really reach the next milestones of our business. So November 5th is November 5th, 6 a.m. Pacific time is when the registration period will end. So you have to sign up before November 5th in order to participate in the crowd sale. So November 7th, 6 a.m. Pacific time is when the crowd sale begins. But we do have um, around 10,000 people that will be able to participate first as they've been in our social channels for at least 2 months. And then once that round is over, it immediately jumps into the public crowd sale. So November 7th. So our total cap is around 120,000 Ether. We've already closed about 55,678 Ether. So the remaining portions are about 65,000 Ether.
Wow, that's fantastic. And when do you think your product is going to start to be available for everybody? Is it now?
BitMaker is currently available now. It'll be rebranded to Storm Play on the day of the crowd sale. So users will be able to earn Storm tokens as soon as November 7th Pacific time, 6 a.m. Hits, and Storm Shop and Storm Gigs. We're actually working really fast. And we'll be making announcements to when the products are released and when the alpha and beta are allowed for our, crowd sale participants as well as all of the members in our social channels as well.
All right. Well, this sounds really fantastic. I think you have a great story. Selling Korean tacos to actually launching your own ICO and having a very impactful concept utilizing blockchain for the gig economy. I think that this is really a fascinating story. Is there anything that you want to share with us as a pre-announcement that would be of interest to the listeners?
Yeah, definitely come check out www.stormtoken.com. We have some really exciting news that's coming out this week, next week, and it's definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for showing up here as a guest on Blockchain 360. Again, this has been Simon Yu as our guest, and he is the CEO of StormX. Thank you again, Simon.
Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it.
The Blockchain 360 podcast is produced weekly. Have a question? Want us to interview someone specific? Wish to hear about a particular topic? Let us know. You can email podcast@blockchain360.co or tweet us on Twitter @blockchain360 or at our website blockchain360.co.